So as someone who's been building in-person events, conferences, extravaganzas, that's a word, extravagant events.
Okay.
Maybe you should have called it extravagant events instead of executive events.
Yeah, well, I think executive events explains it a little bit more, like before.
As someone who's been doing that for decades and primarily in person at, conference halls and things like that, back when did you start hearing about COVID?
Well, we heard about it, I would say, beginning of March-ish.
Okay. And so did you start talking to clients, rearranging at that point? Or when did you really start when were you really like, OMG, this is something I'm going to be directly impacted on because my clients aren't going to be able to do these type of things? And then how did you kind of do the old switcheroo to get into the virtual world?
Well, it's not a switcheroo. We've been in virtual world since A1 day one. So this is not new for us.
A1 day one? Is that what you said?
A1 day one. Yeah, from the beginning.
Did you make that up? Like who's?
No, I didn't make it up. Maybe it's a Southern thing. I don't know.
You know what? Like some kids are on TikTok. Some kids talk about A1 day one. I'm learning a lot already.
No, we've always done virtual events. But I would say the majority of what we did was hybrid events in the past. And that's part in person, part virtual. So we've had things like live streaming that comes in for a portion of it. If like say a speaker couldn't be there or say that they're in a different country. I've done an event with Operation Smile where we had a hospital a few miles away and we live streamed a surgery into part of the event, but made it interactive with the doctors that were there in person. So there's different ways that we can do hybrid events, right? So now we're doing them a little bit more intensely. But no, we've always done virtual events and hybrid events. So this is nothing new for us. The platforms and the opportunities, the new opportunities that have come up, that's the new part, but we're experienced with doing virtual. That's been
Operation Smile is the organization that helps fix cleft lips. Is that right?
Cleft lip, cleft palates for children around the world.
And so you had a live stream into the hospital?
We
actually in person.
So we put on a conference for the doctors. And so they were learning some new techniques and things like that. So it was a learning event. It was like a 4 day conference. Mm-hmm. And a portion of the learning event, we had 600 doctors, right? So we couldn't put all 600 doctors in the hospital, right? Hovering over this patient to see this new graph thing that they were using. Right. So for that, we set up a camera at the hospital and then streamed the surgery live to the doctors that were attending the conference.
Now, did you figure that out through Q&A with the group to figure out what their needs were? And that was the kind of solution.
That was the solution. Absolutely. So we talked with them. What does the program need to look like? What type of learnings are we doing? This goes everything from like the booklets they're handing out, all that sort of stuff. So what does that programming look like? And there was a need to show off this new technique. And it was not something that you can just, print out in a manual. You needed to actually see this. You need to see the saliva. You need to see the blood. You need to see all this sort of stuff because it's training for these doctors. So they had to see that level of detail. And so that was the solution, was to show them this surgery live and this new graph that they're using and things like that. And so we worked with the client to say, hey, this is something that we want to teach them while we have them all here and things like that. And so that was the solution there. So somewhat like a hybrid situation.